Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video, I'm coming back at you in another spawn vid, and this time we're going to be talking about the class spawns that just came out. Okay, so right here we got the class spawns. Class spawns are going to have, for 80 gems, they're going to be a weapon of your choice, or like an armor piece. Like if you want helms, you could choose helms. If you want the armor chest piece, you could choose the armor chest piece. It's going to be random, so what you're going to get out of it's going to be random. But down to that level, it's actually going to be more of your choice. So that right there is very nice. This is one of the few of only spawns that actually do this. So this is the only frequent spawn that does this, where it's not 100% random. You actually get to choose down to a certain extent of what you're actually going to get. A certain extent. It's going to be random what's popping out, but if you want a certain like weapon of your class, or if you want like a helm or an armor piece, you could actually absolutely choose it. It's going to be infused 4 times. If you really want to know about infusion, I'll just link it down below. I want to cut this video as short as possible, so it's going to be infused 4 times, and that right there is very good, especially when you get to the 4th and 5th infusion. Those right there are the 2 hardest, and just cutting even one of those is significantly going to increase the value of the spawn, or how good the spawn is. And on top of it, you're guaranteed at least one cost, 33 or higher, ultra rare. So right there, we got a very, very nice spawn. This is one of the #1, if not the #1 free-to-play, best free-to-play spawn to do legitimately in the game. Seriously, I'm not even kidding you. Seriously, like, they recently added 36 cost weapons and 37 cost monsters, but before, even now, still, this spawn is a pretty good spawn. It's a couple steps behind the current meta of gear score, or the actual, like, how much you can actually do, or how strong you can get. But it's only going to be a few steps behind. And definitely for the price that this class spawn offers, I'd say this is definitely worth it. All hands down, this is definitely worth it. Because usually when you're spawning, unless you're doing like the metal exchange and the treasure spawn, there's almost absolutely, or like they're doing events like Black Friday or something like that, where like you can choose the weapon of your class, there is absolutely no way where you're actually guaranteed to actually get the weapon of your class legitimately. And this is one of those few ways where you're actually guaranteed to get the weapon of your class. So right there is already a good discount. Like, this is 80 gems on top of it, right? If they have the Awakening and Ether packs, I can even show you how much of a better discount this is. For $74.99, this is how much an Ethers would cost. For $37.99, this is how much Ethers would cost. That's 3 Ethers right there. Depending on what you're doing, it may only take 3 levels, or it may take only 1 level to get from however many Ethers to how many Ethers. As you see right here, 32 cost lands. Since it's not going to be the same 1 level, it could literally cost 3 Ethers. It could literally cost that $37.99 deal. Unless you have like a weapon that has the same cost and it's like also a sword, then you might be, it will only take 1, but it will only go from level 1 to level 3. And with 37, you could literally right here get 90 gems and just do the class spawn. It's that simple, it's that easy. So right there is pretty much, I'm just trying to tell you how much it is worth. If you really want to check out infusions, I'll link it down below again, but that's pretty much how good the class spawn is. The class spawn is one of the best spawns, especially free to plays, spawns in the game for you to actually spawn and actually get something good out of it. Keep in mind though, if you're more pay to win, I would think about this. I wouldn't do this to be exact, or perhaps you're like a limited budgeted whale. You could also think about doing this instead of doing like a treasure spawn. With the treasure spawns instead though, you're guaranteed to get the highest cost in the game. And if you will a lot, it's really easy to get the Ethers out of the chest, so there's the flip side to it. But as a free to play and a limited budget whale, this is what I would recommend more. So with that being said, let's actually go over the gear and what it has to offer. Okay, so all of these have the Divine Physical Testament or Divine Testament skill. So you can see right here, this was also Physical Testament. This right here, Divine Testament skill. Right here, pretty much, I could say it. Okay, so it works like a regular Testament XL, so keep that in mind. And then it has an added effect that makes it different, divine, quote unquote, as we may call it. Its critical hit chance is massively increased. We have seen this, I'm not sure if it's multiple times or a couple times, but we have seen weapons that have already been able to do this before, so this is nothing new. And then on top of it, it really all depends on what you're running, because if you're running, perhaps say like if you got Noah gear, right, absolutely a skill like that would be helpful, like the stuff right here, because you're already having a critical chance increase. But if you don't have this stuff right here, you're probably running fatals like everybody else, and if fatal procs, fatals guarantee critical hits, so you don't even need that in the first place if you're just rocking fatals. So if you're interested in Noah gear, if you're gonna like, I'm not sure if they're gonna come out with another treasure spawn for it, so keep that in mind. But if you do have the Noah gear, that right there could be a helpful skill. If you don't have the Noah gear, there's almost no absolute reason to even have it in the first place if you're rocking fatal testaments. Seriously, because it's not going to help all too much considering your critical chance by default is not going to be pretty dang high, because you don't have it high by default or by moves, perhaps say, because a Lancer has a lot of critical hit chance up moves. So okay, moving on from there, and then we got the armor right here. The armor is going to offer damage down double XL. This right here is going to be a pretty dang helpful skill towards this day. Now, with the new changing in current meta, you will be seeing a lot of archers and soldiers all hands down. And because of that, when you're doing guild battles and coliseums, nullifies still work, all hands down, no questions asked. But with nullifies, you want to keep in mind that archers and soldiers will be going through nullifies. So nullifies aren't as good as they were before. Still helpful, not as helpful as they were before. So the next best bet, if you want something that works all around the clock, regardless of whatever's going down or what's going to happen, damage down is the best choice. Not even reflection double XL will be the, I mean, it really depends, because when you're dealing with like really like whalish people, they're gonna have reflection reduction, and reflection's not gonna work out. But damage down is the better choice, because damage down is going to have by default better base proc rate than reflection double XL will have. And with damage down, you're decreasing the damage a lot. So with damage down, this being the highest cost armor for damage down right now, this is the best choice for damage down. This right here, if you're playing player versus player, this right here is going to be the best choice for decreasing damage, because this is going to have a higher proc rate. Again, out of pretty much almost all armors or armor skills that reduce damage, and on top of it, it's going to be of the highest cost, so it's going to be a super excellent stat sticker, and it's star gear. So if you need some star gear to have some advantage against light or dark element, this right here works, because it works for 2 elements. So right there is even something even more beautiful. So this gear right here, like the armor is definitely not bad. If you could absolutely get your hands on it, I would, because this right here is not bad armor. It has a great skill. It has an element that's weak against 2 elements. So right there is even something more beautiful, and on top of it, it's got that skill. Or stat stick, whichever one I missed out on. Okay, so moving on from there, the last parts of this video, the abilities. Okay, so with the abilities, this one right here is for the soldier. It increases your max HP by 30 for 20 seconds. It removes status lives from your character. Boosts your character's attack and defense by 30 for 20 seconds. This right here is definitely not a bad ability, especially if you're like, if you don't like have hero rotation or something that's you're going to remove status alignments in rotation or whatever, just even regardless, it's going to be a good move, because a lot of the opponents you will be fighting in player versus enemy will be throwing status alignments your way, including guild rates. Guild rates is absolutely no exception, and because of that, having adrenaline will help. And soldiers now can do DPS thanks to some of the newer moves they have. So this boosts your character's attack and defense by 30% for 20 seconds absolutely does help more than it ever does before for the soldier now, because they have stuff like Listening Edge, and I'm not even sure what other moves they might have that might help with DPS, but hopefully you get what I'm saying here. Yeah, this is not a bad ability whatsoever. And of course, the soldier is going to be a tanky class, so that max HP increase is also going to help. So that's pretty much adrenaline will. Let's look at the Lancer's ability. The Lancers increases the attack of all allies, adds it to yourself by 30% for 20 seconds, and boosts their critical hit chance by 30 for 20 seconds. This right here could also be potentially a very nice handy skill. Keep in mind, you want to do that critical build-up strategy if you really want to throw this on. If not, I would recommend just sticking to your average Whirl Spear, or whatever they have that like helps with break as well. And then it has like the attack as well with the ability power. I think it's called Whirl Spear. That would be absolutely the best choice for the Lancer. Still to this day, I think that would be the best choice for the Lancer. But if you're working on like a critical build for your Lancer, or something that's going to help with like critical damage overall, this right here is probably a good choice. It increases both your attack and your critical hit chance by 30%, so that right there could be some pretty high potential damage. So definitely not a bad skill, but it really all depends on the setup you have for your Lancer. We got right here Flash with 15 ability cooldown time and 6 cost. Reduce the cooldown times except for certain abilities of yourself by 20 seconds, and increase cost recovery speed by 5 for 20 seconds. If you definitely don't have an attack, even if you even do have an attack, this right here is not a bad ability whatsoever. This right here can help with DPS, all hands down, no questions asked. For the mage, this seriously can. This decreases the cooldown ability times and increases your cost recovery speed. And this is by, oh, I thought I saw 120 seconds. This is by 20 seconds. 20 seconds is not a bad timer whatsoever. So definitely this could help. If you don't have an attack, maybe even if you have an attack, this might be a better choice to throw on. I wouldn't say this is the best move, but this is definitely a great selection of the moves that you could replace with your attack. These moves are moves you could only really replace with your attack. You can't replace them with any of your other 4 moves if I didn't say that already. Okay, so that pretty much covers that. And then we got over here Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual recovers state cost for your character, reduces the HP recovery effects received by your character for 30% for 10 seconds. This is a Dermot right here. Oh, Dark Ritual, it costs 0 to cast, but it's 15 seconds. So right there is very nice because you're not losing any type of cost using this. And the Dermot's only by 10 seconds. So this may be a bit risky, but it's not awfully too risky. There are better moves out there. I can't name them by default, but the Cleric does have a heal move. And then it has something that I think reduces the ability cooldown times. And it has a bunch of, I can't name them on the top of my tongue, but they do have other useful moves besides this. But this one's not a bad one, definitely. It gets the job done, for sure, as a move that replaces attack for a Cleric, and it is helpful for a Cleric. There are better moves out there for the Cleric, though, but this one's not a bad one whatsoever. So that's pretty much what I gotta say about Dark Ritual. That's my opinion about the moves. Okay, so that's pretty much what I gotta say about the moves and everything surrounding them, in my opinion, in my perspective, based on the moves and the class spawn. So yes, definitely, if you are on a limited budget or you are free to play, you definitely want to think about doing the class spawn, because the class spawn will probably be the best choice for you in getting gear score super exponentially and super fast at a quick rate. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching, and I hope this helped out. This is the AzureWrath, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.